Calls to stand down workers who refuse the vaccine. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee and let's have a look at this article from the Weekend Australia I just noticed. Bosses seek power to stand down. Virus jab refuses. So there's, again, calls, we've looked at this before, calls to stand down workers who refuse the virus jab. Now, I am all for vaccination, and I've actually gotten my staff vaccinated. Years ago, when we were having a newborn baby come into the office, which we did, Rachel would bring the newborns after, 1 week, even earlier sometimes, into the office and would work and would take care of the baby in the workspace. It was one of the advantages and just the kooky environment of being an architect. So one risk factor when you have a newborn, before they are immunized against whooping cough in particular, is that people surrounding the baby may be able to pass that on. So we paid for all of our staff to go and receive a whooping cough and, the combo vaccination. Just look up the risks of what could happen if you get tetanus, guys, next time you go, you cut yourself when you're working in the garden. So we did that all. We, explained it to our staff, the reasoning why, how it poses a risk factor to a newborn child, and we were happy to pay for it and give them the time off necessary to take it, which wasn't very long considering the doctor's office was literally upstairs from our workplace, and all the staff were happy to do it. Most of them had already had the vaccination beforehand. It was a booster. And I think one guy he fainted. He fainted when he got the needle. He said it never happened before, but it was the deepest sleep he'd ever had in his life. So I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but I do appreciate the fact that some people are concerned and worried that this vaccination for COVID-19 has been rolled out rather quick. And it's understandable to be a little bit concerned with things that are rushed, particularly with regards to the medical side of things. So I appreciate that. I understand both sides of the story. So here we have this article, bosses want to stand down workers who refuse the jab. Written by Edwin Hanna. Employers want the power to require workers to get the COVID-19 vaccine and stand them down from work without pay if they refuse, warning that bosses and employees will be left vulnerable if co-workers decline to be vaccinated. Now, I was wondering, what was this about? It's an exclusive, guys. As the government examines how the vaccine will be rolled out, unions call for at-risk essential workers to be among the first to get vaccinated. Small business said the government should replicate the guidance issued recently by the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, which says employers can require workers to get the vaccine and bar them from the workplace if they refuse. Now, how is this Equal Employment Opportunity Commission if you're allowing people to discriminate based on this characteristic? It would seem to be unequal employment opportunity. I mean, here's the thing. In Australia, we're going to have calls for mandatory vaccination from the public, even if the government refuses. You can see Qantas calling for it if you want to fly internationally, and you've got the unions calling for it. Now you have the small business, the Small Business Organisation of Australia. We'll jump over here and have a look. Now, we've looked at this before. This isn't the first time we've looked at it. I did a video on this back in August of this year. No jab, no job, where, Peter Strong from the Small Business Organisations of Australia was calling for this. And, here's the, they note that the major learning, I hate using learning as a lesson. Shouldn't it be lesson? Whoever uses learning in that context. Anyway, from the last 6 months is that we need to better anticipate the future when it comes to COVID-19. And it's the same type of thing. If the vaccine is developed and available, there will be great debate about whether it should be used or not. Anti-vaxxers and libertarians will have a field day. For workplaces, we must make sure that any rules do not impact upon business viability or the health of the business owner or worker. They're concerned. I mean, you're going to have, where it's going to come from, it's going to be insurance companies refusing public liability insurance, even if the government is the provider of it. You're going to have people saying risk. Someone could potentially say that they caught it in our establishment, and that could be brand damage. We've seen that happen. If it's caught with the contract tracing and all of these things, it can destroy a business. So their businesses are going to want to do everything they can to mitigate that risk, and that seems to be calling for the ability to discriminate against people based on if they've got the vaccine or not. Now, you may have an opinion that, okay, yep, we should do that, we should force that on them, or others may not. Well, here's the question. Would you be happy if you support the businesses that they have this capacity to stand someone down with no pay, essentially fire them for all intensive purposes, or coerce them into receiving this? Would you be happy for businesses to have the right to discriminate against other things? What if you've got a business and you go, you know what, I don't like these people with this political orientation. I think that ideologically they're driven to be collectivist and lazy, so I don't want these type of people working in my business. So now I'll survey everyone who I'm potentially employing to see if they're affiliated with that ideology. Oh, I'm not a fan of that union. I want to discriminate against that one. Oh, I don't like bald Germanic men. I want to discriminate against them. Although that probably would be accepted in today's culture, sadly. But do you see where this is going? Do we want to have... We either go all the way. We either allow businesses the freedom to discriminate and choose who they work with and who they do and who they employ and what customers they're allowed in their store. Can you see what would happen there? And then you let the market decide, because all of these things are interventions in the market. They're calling for the approval of the state to actively discriminate against one type of employer or employee to protect themselves. Council of Small Business Organisation Australia Chief Executive Peter Strong said employers should have the legal ability to stand down workers without pay if they refuse to take the coronavirus vaccine. And we've looked at this before. I mean, over here you can see, you've got to understand too the age of the people making these claims. Peter, the CEO, he's an older dude. He's got my hairstyle, but I would hazard a bet, he's in the higher risk category. So perhaps he's more susceptible to the fear coming from the news, and then he wants to, address that. So you've got to understand the biases that individuals have. There's never any discuss about managing, mitigating factors that you can risk. Well, there is here, this one here. And I thought, okay, is this something new? Because this is new. This is an exclusive article. And I haven't really been able to find any other, news releases. The 17th. What is your experience with buy now, pay later? We may have a look at that one in another video. Meet the small business champions. Woolies power grab for food supply chain. And here we go. Immunologist to inform COSBOA comments and policies on a COVID vaccine. So engaging with an immunologist. COSBOA has announced that it will be consulting a prominent immunologist to inform its policies and statements around a future COVID-19 vaccine and related issues for small businesses. COSBOA expects that once the vaccine becomes available and people begin choosing to be vaccinated or not to be vaccinated, many small businesses will experience issues with workplace relations, customer interactions, and expectations of the community. Peter Strong, CEO of COSBOA, has stated today, when a COVID vaccine becomes approved and available, we will face a new challenge. That is an understanding of not just when, but how a vaccine might be introduced, as well as the subsequent issues we will face as small business people, particularly from those that employ other people. We need information from experts to inform our advice and our policies. With great pleasure, we announce that Professor Andrew Carr will be providing the information that we need. Only one? Why are you only going to one person? Professor Andrew Carr is Director of the Immunology and HIV Unit at St Vincent's Hospital in Sydney and a Professor of Medicine at the University of New South Wales. Professor Carr has already addressed a meeting of COSBOA members, and the information he provided has proven invaluable. Professor Carr not only has the expert knowledge that we need, but also an understanding of how to communicate with communities on contagion issues, given his close work with the HIV crisis in the 80s and 90s. Professor Carr stated, I'm pleased to be able to support COSBOA with its activity on this issue. We need to get the right message on the vaccine development process and on managing the process of vaccination to the community if it is to be as safe as possible. The opportunity to work with the Council can only enhance the process and help dispel the misinformation that always occurs in a crisis, and particularly with vaccines and new medical products and processes. I know that the medical authorities will follow the processes needed to ensure a vaccine is safe and safely administered when one is developed. Governments and health authorities, this is the thing. People are just look at all of the disasters that have happened in the past. We've got access to more information, so it's understandable that people can be concerned. I mean, we're in a time now where people are losing confidence in experts and in the authority of institutions. Governments and health authorities will also ensure that there will be equitable and timely access for the different groups and communities in Australia. I also know that small business people are everywhere and are an important source of information for people, and are also places that must be safe in a crisis. Well, small businesses are the ones that are feeling the economic impact of these government interventions stronger than everyone else. It looks like our leaders don't see them as that important. At least it feels like it, doesn't it? Mr. Strong added, our political leaders have achieved success by consulting and acting on advice from medical experts. We also know that in some states the response could have been improved if there were proper consultation with the business community. Now, when a premier stands up and says they have listened to the medical advice, we can say the same thing and add further advice that will assist the community in being safer, but also ensuring the economy does not suffer. Well, no politician, I have not seen one cost-benefit analysis for the strict economic lockdowns. Let me know in the comments if you've ever seen one. It doesn't feel like it, does it? So, I mean, here we have it, everyone. The Small Business Council has got an expert on board to help them in, making policy decisions and disseminating their arguments. But it fundamentally comes down to this. Do you think businesses should have the right to discriminate in who they employ? And if you do, where do you draw the line? Should we just open it up and allow the free market to reign? Why not? That's probably the simplest solution. But I can't see Australia with our nation that really likes the government stepping in on our personal lives so much. I can't see them just getting a free leash to business. Can you imagine that if businesses started actively discriminating against who they employ and who they even allowed in their business? Oh, would it be entertaining? The memes would be gold. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions on this in the comments down below. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content that I create here, there are a few ways you can. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links from Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or AussieBroadband. You can buy our merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, and I will see you all next time. Bye for now.